Hey, great to see you. Today's episode is all about spiritual entrepreneurship. And I got really excited inside of my membership portal, which is called Phoenix. One of the incredible women inside of there really took our theme from last month, which was all in. And we went all in different areas of our lives. Each of the women chose a specific area. And this particular incredible healer, phenomenal RMT, she decided to up her revenue goal, and she set her revenue goal, and lo and behold, she reached her revenue goal long before the end of the month. And here's what I noticed and want to share with you as far as like, well, how does one do that? Maybe you've heard me talk about in previous episodes how I created my annual revenue in 90 days. These are the same principles. And I was going to say it's not a magic bullet. It kind of is once you get it and once you understand the energetics of it. And this is why I love the marriage between my training in energy healing and Ayurveda and yoga studies and so on with how we're running our business, because our life and our business are not separate. They just aren't. Our business is an extension and expression of who we are. And if who we are being is a little wobbly, a little off center, that is going to be carried forth. And this is really the basis of up leveling not only our business, but our life, is through developing a more harmonious relationship with ourself, with our mind, with our thoughts, with our beliefs, with who we believe we are and how we believe the world is. And it's not just mindset. It's not like we just go, oh, I'll just think a different way. It is a whole physical, mental, emotional, energetic embodiment. If it is not embodied, it's just, this was the term that came to me this past weekend while I was teaching, was spiritual masturbation. And we can really go through that process for years, for decades. I look back at parts of my journey and see like, oh yeah, that was total just like spiritual masturbation. It was not actually facing myself and what was required. It was more of an avoidance, even though it was cloaked in spiritual practice or spiritual identity. Even that's the slipperiest place. And so there will be a shedding that is required so that you can really live from the most authentic, true part of yourself. In Ayurveda, we call this Prakruti. And as I've been dissecting and looking and supporting women for years inside of their business and before that, and still inside of their health and well-being, I see that they're not disconnected, that all of the principles of Ayurveda are actually the principles of how to live a harmonious life. And by harmonious, I don't mean boring or mundane or like, me, I'm balanced. I don't know if there's any point of balance. If we touch upon it, we quickly slide through it, right? Balance isn't a place we get to and we're just like, I'm balanced forevermore now. It is really a place that we move in and out of. And yes, the more resourced we are, it is easier for us to live in that place of balance, or I like the concept more of harmonization. Are we harmonized to our essence? Are we harmonized to the world that we are creating, the reality we are creating for ourselves? So let me get back to the incredible woman inside of our Phoenix membership. So she set her high revenue goal, higher than she's had this year. Here's what she did, and here's how I also created my entire annual revenue in just 3 months' time. So you can think of it a little bit of collapsing timelines, right? Because our Western mind has been trained to think in linear, in logical, and in progressive. So we have to take incremental steps, or things have to take X amount of time or this long because we're going in the linear way. And that's one way. It's not bad or wrong. It's just not always so much fun, and it will typically take longer. So here's what this incredible woman did. She felt the desire. She felt that desire to increase her revenue. Part of it was because she needed to for her livelihood, for all of her expenses and worldly things that she was responsible for, but she felt that desire and she felt the spark, the aliveness of like, ooh, I want to make this much money this month. Sharing my gifts, doing what I do. Yes, I want to make this much money. I no longer want to be just skimming by or making this much. I'm going to up level that. So she decided. She really chose it consciously. Not like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? Or hoping. Oh, I hope to. This is where I see a lot of heart-based entrepreneurs go wrong. We kind of hope and pray and maybe even chant and meditate, but we have never fully chosen and decided and say, this is my full commitment. And then that becomes our sadhana, that becomes our practice. And then what she did after deciding, she took inspired action. She did not wait. She did not get the download, the impulse, and then go, yeah, maybe not. That seems a little bit too uncomfortable. She took the inspired action, and I can tell you, because this is what she told me, it was literally within the hour that she went and raised her rates. And she said it was scary. It was incredibly terrifying to her to do this, partly because she had a lot of inner narrative that was saying, what are my clients gonna do? And oh my God, I already raised my rates once this year, and all of the mind chatter that will often shut people down. But because she was in this container, she had the accountability, she had the momentum and the enthusiasm from our whole group, and because of her own clarity around, I do want this. She really went into the uncomfortable sensations and emotions around it, and she did it anyway. She literally raised her rates instantly. And then she opened to receive. And you know what else happened? She did not just receive her clients coming. Nobody batted an eye. Not one client was like, oh my God, you horrible person, how dare you? None of her clients batted an eye or even mentioned it, that she raised her rates. But the other interesting thing happened was that she started receiving money from other streams, other revenue streams that were dormant, that she had actually forgotten about, and was now making a lot of money through these other streams that had kind of gone under the surface or under her recognition for a while. So this is really important in the way that we create or manifest. It's not willy-nilly. It's not that hope and pray method. And please do pray. Please do meditate. Please do align yourself in all the ways that feel juicy and right for you. But without the conscious harnessing of both the masculine and feminine energies, it will be very difficult. So that in a nutshell, and if you really run with that, this can change your business and your income considerably. Here's the thing, and this is really what I hope to impart today, because this is something I've struggled with for decades inside of my business, on and off at various times, and it's been a long, expensive, difficult lesson, and that's okay, because I think sometimes we need to live it to really get the lesson. We can also learn through other people's lessons and challenges and be like, oh, look, that we don't have to go through the torturous struggle of it. And that's my hope, to share this with you today. So someone else's system will not work for you. Someone else's funnel, someone else's way that they do their podcast, someone else's way that they send out their emails and newsletters, their strategy is not your strategy. And so this is where so many entrepreneurs go wrong, because we're sold the bright and shiny. Here, just follow my 3-part sales system and blah, 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 blah. And then we go, oh my God, really? Please, someone just tell me what to do. We go into that whole like needing a savior area, which essentially is victimization. Or we see someone else doing it and it seems bright and shiny and we're like, oh my God, I want what they have. And yet we're not who they are. And we have different energetics. We have different gifts to share with the world. We have our own channel, our own way. whether we understand that through the lens of Ayurveda or human design, but we are unique individuals. So if we're just trying to copy what someone else is doing, and I'm not saying don't get inspiration from others, but if you are trying to take something that you see outside of yourself, or that someone that you perceive as more successful than you, and try to do it yourself, it will likely not work, or it might work for a short little sprint of time and then collapse. And so what I teach inside of my Alchemy of Freedom program, and the way that I coach my clients, is actually through the dissolving of non-self and non-self behavior. And so that the real deepening of our business and amplifying of our income is completely connected to, are you being who you really came here to be? And I can tell you from my own experience, that is, you'd think it would be like the easiest thing in the world to just be ourselves, but there's so much conditioning and programming that can like go on top and cover that up, that the process of that dissolving, the process of that awakening, it takes support, and the right support. You need to be aligned with the person that resonates with you, the person that you trust, the person that you feel inspires you, but you're not putting on a pedestal. So here's the thing, stop trying to copy what other people are doing, and do whatever it takes to know yourself, to express yourself unapologetically, to be who you came here to be on this planet, because your gifts are required. They are needed here. And done are the days that we heart-centered, empathic, sensitive, spiritual entrepreneurs can hide anymore. It is a disservice to yourself. It is a disservice to those who you did come to serve. But it begins with you laying down all of the fear-based deeper motivations, which will often show up as trying to follow someone else's system, unless you are deeply guided to that system, but ensuring that you find the way that it works for you. It's always going to be a little bit different. You might have to tweak something. Maybe the system is a system that you're like, yeah, I want to create that funnel, or yeah, I do want to create a podcast in this way. But your way will not be exactly like anybody else's way. So I wanted to leave that here today. Not that you need my permission, but if you needed to hear this message to bring you back on course, to get you back in alignment with who you are. And I have become more and more successful, not just financially, but as a human, through having someone in my court, my mentor, that can really hold the space of my brilliance along with me. And when I wobble, because we're all going to wobble, no matter how financially successful you become, no matter what kind of leadership roles you step into, you are going to come across moments, maybe a lot of them, maybe fewer and fewer, where you doubt yourself, where you question yourself, where you feel like giving up, where you feel like, what's the freaking point of all this? Or I don't want to do this anymore. And those ego deaths are inevitable. And I have found that to have support through those is priceless, actually. So to recap, the system of creation that I spoke about first of all, with listening to that divine impulse, feeling what is most alive, tracking what's most alive inside of you, claiming that, so making a decision, not a wobbly like, maybe I'd like this, but like line in the sand, following the inspired action, and then opening to receive. If any one of those parts are omitted, that recipe may not flow as well or as quickly. And then don't follow anyone's system. Test everything for yourself against your own understanding, and it's going to be in your way, because you are a divine, unique, individual being that didn't come to be like anybody else, So pioneering your own path, pioneering your own way, it can feel a little bit scary sometimes, but is really, I believe, what the universe is wanting us to do, is to be who we really are and to express that without all the weird guilt, shame, hiding, blah, complexes, where we just procrastinate and stagnate and then end up doubting ourselves so deeply that we give up and go do something else or do nothing at all. So let me know in the comments below if this landed for you and how it landed and what touched you. And if you are wanting to go deeper inside of support in building your business, and most importantly, in living from your true self opposed to that non-self conditioned behavior, this is exactly why I have devised and created the Alchemy of Freedom program. It's not a follow me, do what I do. It is let me support you to excavate what is not you, and so that what is truly you remains, and that you get to amplify that, you get to magnetize that, you get to really live from that place and run your business and grow your business from that place. Because ultimately, if we're operating out of non-self behavior, we can't grow our business in any way that is going to be sustainable or deeply nourishing and satisfying. We'll end up leading to burnout, or we will be attracting sort of clients that aren't our ideal clients. So if this sounds exciting to you, reach out to me today. We've got Alchemy Freedom is starting now, and we can see if it's a good fit for you. And if not, perhaps there will be another avenue, another direction for you to receive support, whether that's from me or from somebody else. So light ahead to your journey. I am so thrilled to support spiritual entrepreneurs because I really firmly believe that the world needs you, and the world needs you to be your most authentic and expanded self. So much, much love, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.